Hi, this is Chef Jonathan Beatty. This is the Oxtail Ragu for the second menu rotation of Ravioli Fest. For the beginning of this recipe, you're going to need to aggressively season the oxtails with salt and pepper. Okay, this is really important when you're doing this because you want the oxtails to have a good amount of flavor that they're going to leach into that sauce that's going to make it even better when it coats the pasta. So you want to make sure you have a good amount of salt and black pepper. Here we have all-purpose flour. We're going to season the all-purpose flour with a little bit of salt and pepper as well, so that when we dredge them and we sear them in our pan, that they're going to stay just as seasoned and there's not going to be any rub-off in the flour. So then we have our flour here. We're going to mix it up. When you're dredging these, you just want to give them a quick little toss in the flour. Knock them off. Okay. Make sure you get all the residual flour off. Get all that extra flour, because that's going to stick to the bottom of the pan. So you're going to want to sear these off in a very heavy pan, all right? Pan like this, a very heavy bottom pan, wide. You know, you don't want to do it in a stock pot. You don't want to do it in saute pans because you want to do as much as possible in here to keep all the flavor in here. Okay. So we're going to start adding our oxtails into the pan. You're going to want to add them in a very even layer. You do not want to overcrowd the pan. It's better to do this in multiple batches than to do it all at the same time, because you're going to get a much better color on the oxtails at this point. So while the oxtails are cooking, I wanted to show you, these are going to come on all of your oxtails. These are actually the full tails of the ox. They don't have a lot of actual meat on them, but you want to roast them like we've done right here in the oven, and then save them and put them into your sauce and let them cook down with the rest of the oxtails, because it's going to give you a lot of good flavor into your sauce. Okay, so now that we've seared off all of our oxtails, we have them all layered in our hotel pan over here. We're going to start cooking the vegetables that are going to go into the ragu. So we're going to add the onion. And keep in mind, you want to cut these vegetables to be a pretty good size because they're actually going to be incorporated into the ragu afterwards. So you want to sweat the onions for a couple minutes first before you add in any of the other vegetables. This is the way you should set up your station too. You should sear everything in this pot and you should move it all over to a hotel pan. It's never the best idea to braise in the same pot that you're using. Just, you have more control over a hotel pan than you do a pot. And your kitchen is probably going to be needing these pots a lot more than a hotel pan. Okay, so now we're going to add in the celery. And the carrots. All nicely cut so they look nice in the finished ragu. At this point, you can also add in your bouquet garni with your parsley stems, your thyme stems, a little bit of bay leaf, and peppercorn as well, and a little cheesecloth and string. And now we're going to add in the fresh chopped garlic as well. Stir all that together and let it cook down for another 10 minutes. Now our vegetables have cooked for about 10 minutes. We're going to pour them right on top of our oxtail. And to this pan, we're going to let it heat up for a second, and then we're going to deglaze it with red wine, tomato, and veal stock. You can add the tomatoes in whole like this and then give them a light crush. Okay, you actually want to have some pretty good sized pieces of tomato in your final product. So don't go crazy on pureeing them too much. You want to have nice pieces in there. Okay, so the tomatoes and the red wine have come up to a boil, reduced down slightly. We're going to add in our veal stock. We're going to return this to a boil. We're going to add a little touch of salt and pepper, not too much, okay? Some people say don't season braising liquids. You can season it a touch. Okay, so now we've added our veal stock. It's come back up to a boil, and we're now going to add our liquid to our vegetable and mirepoix. Pour that right on top. you're going to want to make sure that you evenly distribute all the liquid amongst the oxtails and the mirepoix. There we go. They can be poking out a little bit, that's fine. As long as they're mostly covered, you're good to go. And then we're going to take foil, cover this very tightly. You want to make sure that it's covered very tightly so that it cooks with a lot of pressure in there, so it makes those oxtails nice and tender. Okay, then you're going to put this in a 350-degree oven for about 2.5 hours. You're going to check them, and you're going to make sure that they pull off the bone, and then they're good to go. Cool it down, shred the meat, mix back in with the vegetables, and that's the ragu. Okay, so now we have our oxtail ragu heated up in our pan, the amount that's in your recipe. We have our raviolis that we're going to cook off now. You're going to cook the raviolis the same way we cook all of our other raviolis for the Ravioli Fest. You're going to want to thaw them out before cooking them. Do not par cook them directly from thawed. Okay, and don't cook them from frozen because you're not going to be able to get the inside hot enough before the outside's overcooked. We're going to add a little touch of butter to this, and a little olive oil. Start heating it back up. Raviolis are already, like we said, thawed, and they're already part cooked, so you don't want to cook them too long. You just want to make sure they're hot on the inside. Add a little bit of pasta water in there with them. Alright, so now you're going to want to cook these raviolis in the sauce for a good 30 seconds to a minute. You want to make sure that they coat, that sauce gets into the pasta and gets a nice flavor inside. Give it a quick toss with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil at the end. Helps give it a nice, beautiful sheen. And you're going to want to come over here. And we're going to plate them the same way we've been plating all of them in the bowl. Make sure that the filled side is up. There you go. Pour the ragu on top. Shaved Parmesan. And a little bit of fresh parsley.